This is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. Well, I guess by now you've all seen this video. It has gone viral. This young woman, a graduating senior at LaGuardia College in New York, felt the need to challenge her professor and have a wrestling match over the microphone. She prevailed and was able to wrestle the microphone away from her professor and have her say while still holding on to her pocketbook, which I thought was amazing. But she was able to hold on to her pocketbook and made a speech and then switched off. Like, I won this. Many people have commented on this video and have had varying opinions about whether or not they thought she was right or wrong. A lot of Black Americans, especially a lot of Black American women, have come down on her side and said, well, she was right because the professor was trying to rob her of her moment. This young woman is an African immigrant. She might be second generation, but she's from Guinea. I think her family came from the country of Guinea, West African country. And a lot of the African immigrants are just horrified by what she did because she didn't follow the status quo. She didn't stay in her place. She made a scene. She made Black women look bad, looking like the angry Black woman. And so they were just kind of very embarrassed by her. Some of the African women, content creators, have just been appalled and they're just embarrassed by the whole thing. Whereas some African Americans agree with them. They think it was awful too. But many more, I think more of them agree with her. She said that the professor was trying to rob her of her moment. At any rate, I have mixed feelings about this. And I really do. On the one hand, I do believe that you follow the protocol. You're in the school, you do what the people tell you to do, you're graduating. Whatever your issues are or were with that school are over now because you've graduated and you're moving on to the next phase of your life. So on the one hand, that's how I see it, and that's probably how I would have done it, especially it's definitely how I would have done it if I were 22 years old and graduating from college and the teacher did that or the professor did that. I would just do like the rest of them and go on. But this woman has a revolutionary spirit, and that's the side of it that I have looked at. And this is what she had to say about it.
You didn't let me get my moment, so I want to say my name is Kadia Iman, and I'm graduating today. I don't like how you snatched the mic out of my hand, so today is going to be all about me.
Oh, drops the mic. Congratulations!
Revolutionaries are people who change things. You don't change anything by going along with the status quo. You change things by challenging them. You know, the saying goes, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So you don't get anything changed by going along with what they say to do. Now, I believe that her issues with the school, and maybe even with that particular professor, are deeper than whether or not she got to say her whole name at graduation. I believe it goes deeper than that. Because she said there were other Black students that had not been able to say their names. Of course, the college then would go and get Black students who would challenge that. And they showed clips of the other Black students, and they were able to say their names. So she said the teacher wouldn't let her finish saying her name. Now, to me, it seems like she and that teacher might have some conflict. There might be some conflict with that teacher. And so she decided to make that scene. Now, if that's the case, I think that's something that she should have handled differently, and she should have handled that with that professor before the day of graduation. But something tells me that there's a problem at that school. There's a problem at that school. And even I happen to know this from being in school myself. There can be a professor that can be a racist. And there would still be some Black people some black students that would like that teacher. But some black students who would be more sensitive would call it what it is. And that's one thing. The second reason I don't hold this young lady but so accountable for what she did is because when I think back over things that white people have done to black people, embarrassing them, marking them down for something silly, creating a situation where black students wouldn't get a fair treatment for something, then I say, well, I don't feel but so bad about this. Because there has to be a backstory. There's something else going on with her, with this teacher. For her to make a scene like that, either she has some real issues that she needs to work out, or there is a problem. And I can believe that there is a problem at that school because I know how these people work. And if she's outspoken, she's clearly outspoken. But if you are a student that speaks out, and if she points out some things in the school that she thinks are wrong, then she's going to be a problem. And so that teacher could well have allowed the other black students to say their name and whatever their major was, and not allow her to do it. And that would, to me, indicate that there is a problem between that student and that professor. College graduation is a big deal, not just for the students and the parents, but also for the teachers, the staff, the professors at the college. That is the biggest day of the college season, graduation. So they try to keep it orderly and serene. They try to keep people quiet, and it's very hard to do. Now, I've been to graduations at the University of Alabama a number of times, and that's a huge graduation. It's held indoors, and they get up and ask the parents to hold their applause and for everybody to be quiet so everybody can hear their name called, and they try to keep it as orderly as they can. Now, what happens is that it will go on very smoothly. The graduation will be going on very smoothly. They're calling out hundreds of names, and everybody is being quiet. But there will come a time, and it never fails, that they will call the name of a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, which is a black fraternity. And that guy is going to come across the stage, and he's going to do some kind of step or some kind of dance, and he's going to bring the house down. And some people applaud them, and the administrators and the professors stand there looking stern and solemn, but they don't say anything because they know it's going to happen, and they've gotten used to it now. So they just let it go. And believe it or not, this is a largely white audience of parents and friends and well-wishers. They look forward to it too, and they enjoy it because it breaks up the monotony of the ceremony, and people relax for a moment, and the ceremony goes right back to being quiet and solemn. And I think the administrators are probably happy that instead of everybody jumping up and going to the restroom, they just sit there and have a good laugh and get on back with the show. This is the South. The University of Alabama is the South. And I believe that they have a better understanding of black people and black culture than you would have in New York or anywhere in the Northeast. But this apparently is the season for young black women to try the system and for the system to respond. Because this student, this young lady, I think graduated from high school, and when her name was called, she also defied the protocol and came out on the stage and did a little dance, a little harmless dance. And when she reached her teacher, who was supposed to give her her diploma, she refused to give her her diploma. And for every black person who wants to say they ought to follow the rules, take a look at this. These are young white men pulling a prank at graduation, and this looks like a college graduation. This is a different way of self-expression than the Omegas, and I would consider it more offensive, but they're pulling a prank at graduation. But I think we have to lighten up in America. Everything is not deeply serious and everything is not a big deal. The thing that this young woman did wrong, in my opinion, is that she seemed really hostile. And I believe that there should have been another way that she made her statement besides wrestling with the professor and throwing the mic down. That's anger. So she's really angry. And again, that's something between her and that professor that should have been worked out before the day of graduation. Now, listening to the social media platforms, you know that white America has definitely judged her, and many black Americans have too. If America was a really peaceful country where everybody did what was right and everybody treated everybody the way they were supposed to treat them and every problem got solved, and this young woman got up and did this, then I would really come down on her. I would say, honey, this is not the way. You are just so out of order. And she was out of order. But there are a lot of things that's out of order in America. So all of us need to take a look at ourselves. The people in leadership roles need to take a look at themselves. Those people at that college need to take a look at what's going on in that college, because that girl did that for a reason. There's something going on there in that school. And so maybe now this will be an incentive for them to get to the bottom of whatever is going wrong at that school. What we can say is that what she did was in very poor taste, and that if she has a problem with the administration or the administrator, there should be a means of student recourse if they have a problem with the school or any adult at the school. And I don't think they have that understanding of black culture in New York, and I don't think they have any respect for it. She broke the peace, the order, and the protocol of the ceremony, and I think many people find that unforgivable. And she said she was going to be the star. It was going to be all about her, and she was right. Everybody's talking about her. But to me, in the scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. Now, even as I acknowledge that what she did was in poor taste, I'm still going to say that when you want a change made somewhere, something different has to be done. Somebody has to challenge it. Back in the 60s, young blacks were sitting in and demonstrating and doing other things to bring attention to the problems in America. In her school, there might be a culture of discrimination, of prejudice, of unfairness. Somebody would have to bring attention to that. And I guarantee you that after she made that little stunt and embarrassed the administration at that school, I guarantee you something is going to be done. Now, maybe that's what it took. Y'all probably won't agree with me on this, but I don't think what she did was the worst thing. Obviously, she's intelligent. She's smart enough to be graduating, and she has at least enough self-respect to stand up for herself, even if that was not quite the right way to do it. But I guarantee you something is going to change at that school, because something is wrong there. Now, that's the way I assess it. But let me know what you think about it. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Share the video. And as always, have a great day.